5, 4, command engine start, 2, 1, ignition. Liftoff. New Shepard has cleared the tower.
Along with PR experts who are claiming the singer may face career extinction.
What were they up there, 10 minutes?
However, there's been some critics saying some stuff in it.
She, her entire team, including her manager, they are in damage control mode right now.
I'm going to tell you something right now. You are officially an astronaut.
When Katy Perry took off on Blue Origin's suborbital flight, the world was watching. She said she was on a mission to be inspired, to do something historic, and to reconnect with her creative spirit. But what happened next was far from what she expected. In fact, it may have been the catalyst for the downfall of her career. Was this spaceflight the motivation she claimed, or was it something more? Let's dive into the shocking truth behind Katy Perry's ill-fated space journey. Katy Perry's flight with Blue Origin was billed as a groundbreaking moment, her chance to go to space. However, what the public didn't realize was that she wasn't exactly soaring into the stars. In reality, the flight barely reached the edge of space. The crew ascended only 62 miles above Earth, a far cry from the low orbit achieved by actual astronauts. The entire flight lasted just 10 to 11 minutes. So, while the media made it sound like Perry was blasting off into the unknown, in reality, she was just taking a glorified theme park ride. The confusion didn't end there. Perry and the others involved in the flight acted as though they had achieved something monumental. In truth, they were nowhere near as high as astronauts who live and work in space for months at a time. So why the charade? As expected, the backlash was swift. Fans, media, and even casual viewers on social media took to platforms to voice their frustration. "She's no astronaut" became a common refrain. Critics slammed the whole thing as a publicity stunt, with many wondering how someone could compare this quick trip to the true sacrifices and achievements of astronauts. The memes were relentless, mocking Perry's post-flight comments where she described herself as part of an elite group of space travelers. To make matters worse, her tone-deaf framing of the flight as a life-changing and motivational experience rubbed people the wrong way. It became clear Katy Perry had overestimated the public's appetite for her brand of celebrity space, exploration. In the wake of the storm, Katy Perry did what any celebrity in crisis mode would do: damage control. She publicly addressed the backlash, trying to reframe her flight as something meaningful. Perry spoke about how the experience was spiritual for her, giving her the motivation and inspiration she needed for her career. She claimed the flight was about honoring humanity and making history, especially as a proud feminist. But her attempt to justify the flight seemed to only fuel the fire. The more she spoke about her journey, the more it became clear that she was trying to salvage her image and career. The public wasn't buying it. Many saw her as being more interested in regaining relevance than making a meaningful statement about space travel or women's rights. While Katy Perry's space adventure may have been a media frenzy, the real consequences hit closer to home. Her Lifetimes tour, which was supposed to revitalize her career, was struggling. Ticket sales were abysmally low, particularly in key US markets. And what's even worse, sales didn't just stay stagnant, they plummeted after the Blue Origin flight. Could the spaceflight have been the tipping point? Was the backlash so intense that it turned her fans off completely? The answer seems to be yes. Perry's efforts to promote her tour using the spaceflight experience didn't seem to be landing with her audience. Instead, it appeared that her over-the-top narrative was making things worse. As if the situation wasn't strange enough, Katy Perry took it one step further. She announced that her Lifetimes tour would feature visual and spiritual elements inspired by her Blue Origin flight. She teased that she would be sharing stories about her historic journey during her concerts, between songs, no less. It was clear that Perry was tying this space narrative to her tour in hopes of reigniting interest in her music. But this move seemed desperate at best. Was she trying to create a deeper connection with her audience, Or was she simply capitalizing on a brief moment of media attention? Either way, it came off as forced, and fans weren't impressed. Perhaps the most frustrating aspect of Perry's Blue Origin flight was her comments about inspiring regular citizens to go to space one day. While Perry was all about pushing for more women in space, her narrative seemed disconnected from the reality of the average American's life. The fact is, the Blue Origin tickets cost an astronomical amount of money, far beyond what most people could afford. Critics pointed out the obvious. How could she claim to be inspiring regular people when the opportunity was only available to the ultra-wealthy? For many, this statement seemed more like a slap in the face than a call to action. It only added to the perception that Katy Perry was out of touch with the struggles of her fan base. Katy Perry's Blue Origin flight wasn't just a moment of public controversy. It was a reflection of her broader struggles in the music industry. Reports surfaced that Perry had been facing a creative crisis, struggling to find new ways to stay relevant. Her last few albums had failed to make the same impact as her earlier hits, and her career seemed to be on a downward spiral. The spaceflight was likely a calculated move to reignite interest in her career, but the more she tried to push this narrative, the more it seemed like she was grasping at straws. Fans and industry insiders alike began to wonder, is this the desperate act of a once great performer trying to stay relevant in an increasingly competitive landscape? One of the most frustrating aspects of this whole saga is the way the media treated Katy Perry's flight compared to real astronauts. While Perry's 10-minute flight was covered extensively, astronauts who spend months in space, working, contributing to science, and achieving real milestones, received far less attention. This highlighted a troubling trend: the media's obsession with celebrity culture over actual achievements. Was it fair for someone like Perry to dominate the headlines when true space explorers were largely overlooked? This imbalance only fueled the perception that celebrity culture had become more important than real accomplishments. In the end, Katy Perry's Blue Origin flight may have been a moment of personal fulfillment for her, but it was also a massive miscalculation. The backlash, her desperate attempts at damage control, and the declining sales of her Lifetime's tour all point to one thing: her space adventure may have done more harm than good. Was it an inspiring act of feminism, or just a publicity stunt gone wrong? The jury's still out, but one thing's for sure: this space journey didn't do Katy Perry's career any favors. What do you think? Was this just a desperate grab for attention, or was there something more to it? Let us know in the comments below.